to Retro Counter, episode 162, Golden Sun Part 2. I'm your host, Leona McCallum, and with me today, the same as last week, are Tris Mendoza.
Hi, everybody.
And Keegan Lee.
How's it going?
Yay! So Solosi is still tied up in a box, but it's okay because I feed him a cube of cheese every 3 days.
He's starting to break out, though. I'm starting to see the crack.
Well,
Right.
Truthfully, behind the scenes, he's actually probably recording another podcast as we speak for next week. He is. I think he is, because there's another one scheduled for today. But Golden Sun, I finished it. It was great. What did you guys think?
I thought it was really good. I did not get to 100% complete it, though.
No.
I didn't have the time for the Crossbone Island. I was kind of sad about it.
I'll talk to it when I got there, but I guess technically I'm not 100% complete either.
Yeah.
Tris,
But it was
you completed it, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
of
mean,
course,
yeah,
of
I did,
course.
and I don't think it was necessary, honestly. I mean, it's nothing. There's nothing there in the story that's really important at all. It's just, it's like those optional dungeons end game where you want to get the best stuff,
Yeah.
Right.
and so that's pretty much the only reason why you'd go through that place. And it's frustrating because it's so many puzzles all in one area. So I can understand why you
dense
guys.
with puzzles, yeah. And bosses.
Yeah, no worries. But it was nice finishing again because I love this game, and so when I got to that ending with the song, and I was just like,
So tracking back a bit, we left last time just before we got to Lamakan Desert, right?
Right.
And it's quite an interesting dungeon. It's probably one of the more interesting dungeons in the game, I think. The whole aspect of heat and having to use reveal to find these stone circles that have oasis in them. Oases?
Yeah. Yeah, Oases.
Oases?
Oasi? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's Oases, I think. Yeah, no, really, it was an interesting mechanic when I first played it, because I think when I first played it, it was the first time I've ever encountered something like that. Now it reminds me a lot of, I don't know if you guys ever played Drakengard 3,
No.
but there's this
No.
one optional, I don't know if it's in DLC, but the dungeon itself is also like there's a magical sun that kind of saps your energy, and you have to find shade, I think. So it reminded me a lot of that, but I agree with you, Leona, in saying that it is a very interesting. It's a very little take on the desert too. Like,
Yeah.
you're kind of used to just trudging through desert dungeons, like, oh, it's just a desert, it's just landscape.
Just
But this
sand textiles, yeah.
right, but this one takes it very literal, and it's kind of weird that you don't really see that type of interpretation when it's actually what you would think in a desert.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Did you make it through? Okay, I mean, the hardest thing I found was actually trying to find the damn gin in that place.
Oh, and when you were, because it was in one of the circles, right? One of the clusters.
You reveal it, but I was like, I can't remember which I've revealed and which I haven't. I kept going around in circles.
Yeah. And especially since they also get you with those ant lions, I think, those quicksand monsters, and I hate it because as soon if you use reveal too close, it automatically just sucks you in, which is the whole point of quicksand.
Yeah.
But I was like, can you give me a chance to run first? But it was good experience points. So
yeah, and it's not like no story development really happens in the desert. It's just a cool dungeon.
Yeah, nothing really happens at all. It's just one area you need to get through. So it's not really much to say aside from I did grind a bit there with the ant lions because they respawn every time. So I kept using reveal at the same spot.
See, I was trying to avoid like too many random encounters.
I
don't think I use like the item that reduces encounters at once the entire game. I never bought one.
Oh, the sacred feather.
I never bought one. I probably should.
I think I bought one in the end, and then I was like, I regret not having them at the end because I just wanted to kind of get through the game at that point.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
I was like, there's no. I was surprised that they didn't have synergy for like avoiding encounters at Golden Sun.
They do. I think Dragoon has it.
Oh, they do.
Oh,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Uh,
because my Garrett had it. He was a dragoon.
was it Avoid?
Yep, avoid.
Oh, darn it. Yeah, because in the second one they have it, but like it's actually in the main classes. I never played around too much with the class system this time around. I did change it up, but not too much.
Yeah, I was going to talk about the class system because at the end of the day, I don't know how much it added, to be honest. For me,
yeah.
I
It's
felt
very risky,
it
like,
is. Yeah,
yeah, because then if you use, it's good and when you don't use Jin, but the moment you use a Jin, you shoot yourself in the foot.
yeah, because you've automatically lost that class. Like,
Exactly. And it's hard to justify. Like I get it has like it has its pros and cons, in each. I kind of like that because they it prevents them from being too OP in the end.
yeah,
Still, some are OP, but
yeah,
imagine if they didn't have those consequences, then you're kind of like, okay, you're just gonna use one class and just go through. And that's why a lot of people still suggest that the best class is, the monotypes
mm,
because you're not losing a lot
no,
Yeah.
compared to you doing dual class or even tri classes because
yeah,
that's a very big risk.
Yeah. I got ambitious and tried the tri classes, and I was very confused for a long time. Just I'll pick one Jin summon, and then I'm like, all right, what can I do now?
nothing.
I've lost half of my
Yeah,
health.
no,
I lost 200 HP. No,
Yeah,
right?
everyone's dying.
I feel like if
No,
you're
I don't
using
know.
tri classes, you just can't summon really.
Right, you can't. And people are saying you can get off summons easier when you spread out your gens. I'm like, yeah, but you can't even use them to summon to begin with, so
Sure,
I don't
sure.
know.
If I lose 50 attack and defense points, sure, I could do that. But like,
Right.
I could do the
Ninja.
same. I could do, yeah, I could do the same damage with my regular attack. I used like mono classes, if I'm honest. I just kept everyone what they were. I experimented with the tri classes, but like I wasn't really satisfied with what I was getting in return. Ninja had some cool moves, so that was probably the most interesting one because it had like some unique moves to it. But like the white mage and the other, it was just attacks. I was doing comparable damage,
Mm.
just sticking mono, but it's less
Right.
complicated, less time in
Yeah.
menus.
Yeah. And the thing is, in this game, I feel like it's easy enough that it's not really required, Like
Mm,
it's not really too demanding in terms of battle
no, it's
in
not.
general. That's why I feel like like that's I kind of like that too because then it really helps you just sticking with the monotype if that's your thing.
Yeah,
And they just have so many things going on for the battle. Like even the weapons themselves are enough to pretty much do a lot of damage. And
damage. Yeah,
I love how even some weapons were instant kills.
yeah,
Like it's easy enough that you don't really need to play around if that's not your thing.
yeah. It's very much if you want to mess around, you have this to mess around with.
Yeah, definitely.
But going back, so after Lamakan Desert, you go to Calais, which is Ivan's hometown, I believe, right? So that's where Ivan's from, and
Mhm.
where Master Hammett is from, the person who
Who
is
got
in
kidnapped at the very beginning?
Yeah.
the
I
very
kind of
beginning of
forgot
the
about
game.
him.
Yeah,
Hammett.
Hammett. Yeah, and he's
I thought it
got
was Hamlet at first too.
Hamlet. But you meet Hammett's wife here in Calais, and she's sending money to the kidnappers, hoping it will return her husband to her. But of course, they're just taking the money and have no intent of ever releasing Hammett back to her.
It's pretty much the stop you need to go to because it's a port town,
Yeah.
and so that's why you end up being in Calais. And it also introduces, like again, it's hard to say. It's not. I don't know if it's Ivan's hometown. It's more like he was
Oh,
taken there.
you're right.
And he
Yeah.
was because we don't really know Ivan's backstory,
Mm-hmm.
so it's just Hammett adopted adopted Ivan. But this is where you also. I don't know if this is the part where you know more about Ivan's past. Is this the part where she tells you more about this? Yeah, she does.
She does.
So
Yeah,
she
a little
tells
bit.
Yeah, because she says you shouldn't have to rescue Hammett because you have to fulfill the prophecy that
Yeah.
apparently this Jupiter adept gave Hammett. You find out how Calais came to be, and it was because of this kind of like business insight from this Jupiter adept.
Mm-hmm.
And in exchange for that, Hammett was, supposed to find Ivan and give him the shaman's rod
Right.
because they are linked together, and it's pretty much setting up a very, very murky backdrop. And you're kind of wondering how this Jupiter adept knows. I mean, Jupiter adepts have very good premonition skills, like Hama. So I'm assuming that's how that Jupiter adept knows.
I'd assume so.
I don't.
I'd
And
assume it's some
sometimes I
sort
don't
of.
even know if it might be Hama herself. I don't know. I forget, but that's what I was
I
thinking
kind of,
about.
I kind of
Yeah.
got those vibes.
So then you end up boarding the boat, and the boat itself is pretty. I love the boat.
It's a fun little scene, right? It's because
Yeah, I just love those cutscenes where they're off to sail, but then the guy steals the anchor,
yeah.
and
That
you're
whole
just like,
anchor bit is just so weird. That is not a good captain. Like
oh.
we literally cannot leave unless I have my little anchor.
Oh my gosh, I'm wondering how heavy it is, or like I know it's a charm, but like I want to know like the size, the dimensions.
I
Like,
like
is
to
it a
think it's a little
anchor?
earring or something like that.
Oh, I was like, okay, what's so important about this anchor? And then you have to find it, which I mean, if you do mind read, it's literally
I did
beneath
the.
the
I
ants.
just like mind read the guy, and I was like, okay, it's on the little bird's nest. So I was like, okay, I'll just go up there, and that was that.
Yeah, so it was a little funny exchange, but I love the boat scene just because of what happens because you end up getting it. So we're now on the boat,
Uh huh.
and you get attacked by um monsters because of the synergy stones falling from the sky. It turns all those monsters crazy,
Mm-hmm.
and so what happens is you're kind of tasked with managing the oarsmen,
Mm-hmm.
and I love that. I just love. I don't know. There's so many combinations you can do. So what happens is there's a group that you meet back in, was it Biblin, or I forgot. No, was it? I forgot where, but
I
it's in
forget.
one of the
Yeah.
old towns.
Yeah.
And so there's like a tour group that's going to Tolby to watch the Colosso. And so you bump into them again when you're on the boat, and it's hilarious because you get attacked by waves of monsters, and in each wave an oarsman gets injured. And
Yeah.
so you have to ask one of the passengers to take their spot. And it's just funny because you just get the biggest complaints.
They are
And
such a bunch of moaners.
I know,
I
I was
specifically
like,
picked everyone who moaned the most. Like I was like, you're annoying me. You're going in the dock.
oh my god. I love,
And an old man. I specifically chose the old man,
Oh,
just to be cruel. I don't know.
right. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but this is actually the first instance where you can get to Crossbone Isle.
Is it?
What happens? Yeah, so they give a little bit of like hint towards it because the captain says that make sure that you balance out the oarsman power because if you don't, you'll if one side is much stronger than the other, we might veer off course.
Oh.
And so if you don't balance it out, what happens is you end up in Crossbone Isle, and you can do parts of the dungeon at that point. You can't do all of it because you need certain synergy for some of the areas
Mm-hmm.
that you don't have yet. But you can do it. I think the level 5 or level 6 when you get there from the boat.
Wow. I
And
never knew
so,
that. The game is good about like having a couple of optional places you can go at certain points. It's
mhm,
definitely non linear in some points.
right, because even when you get to Calais, you can go back now to Vault and
Yes.
Vale since the bridge is fixed. And I don't know if Keegan did to get back
Uh-huh.
that bin.
Did you, Keegan?
to
Did
get the
you?
gin back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Did you visit your
Oh,
mom?
okay. Did you
Yeah,
visit?
I did.
Good boy.
I just walking back in and I see that color palette and I'm just like, this place again.
uh,
So you end up at Toby, which is, I would say, it's the biggest
It's the biggest
town
town,
in
yeah.
the
Oh
game
yeah.
so far. There's a lot going on there, and you it's the area of the Colossa, which is I like to call it a gladiator tournament because they look like
It's
gladiators. They
very
wear
Yeah.
Roman,
gladiator.
yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much, yeah, a gladiator tournament where fight to see who's the strongest. But what happens is that as soon as you get there, you find that there's the ruler is missing,
Yeah, Babby.
and his name is Babby,
What a name.
and the pretty much tournament can't really do go like completed until he's back. So you end up being tasked with finding him.
Hmm.
And then they give you a hint to look at this certain cave called Atmiller Cave
Yeah, because he goes there a lot,
because he
apparently.
goes there a lot.
Yeah.
And then you also get the idea that he's Iodem, which is his pretty much his assistant or right hand man,
Yeah.
says that he has the ability he's disappeared right in front of his eyes before, so that kind of gives you an idea of what you're dealing with. And if you go further into the cave, you stumble upon. I always think it's like a guy in a blanket for some reason. I don't know why. Every time
Yeah,
I see that white outline of
like
him,
Harry Potter, right? It's like the invisible cloak. I like. That's why in the notes I put Babby and the Philosopher's Stone because like it's about Babby and his quest for this elixir of life, and he's got an invisibility cloak.
right?
It's all Harry Potter.
Right. It is all Harry Potter. It's literally Harry Potter in Golden Sun. I
Yes.
don't even. I don't know which came out first, but I
I
think.
don't know. I think
Well,
Harry Potter came out first because this
Yeah,
was
it's
like
like late
2001.
90s.
Yeah, and this the Harry Potter
Yeah.
was the 90s. Yeah, but yeah,
right.
you kind of like happen upon his invisible body that is groaning, and it's just a
Yeah,
little
that is
white
right.
outline on the ground. Okay, I'm gonna say this puzzle was hard for me. I don't know if anyone here knows this, but I'm colorblind.
Oh.
Yeah, same here.
Are you colorblind? Did you
Oh.
did you struggle with this puzzle too?
I struggle with anything that involves colors.
Yes,
So,
yes.
Oh.
There's
I
two
didn't know
puzzles in
that.
this game that really involve color a lot, and one's near the end of the game. But this one was the first one. It was like
Oh yeah.
the colored rocks. I was like, what am I doing? I had to get my boyfriend to do it for me.
there comes a point where I just give up a puzzle and I'm like, I can't physically do this.
Yeah,
Right. Unless
sometimes.
you remember. Well, at least for the cave one, they tell you the order of the rocks, but the thing, or where the rocks are. But the thing is, the wheel itself is also just
It's
colors.
just colors,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, so you need to know to hit. You need to know.
And
That's pretty.
I read one guide that says use reveal and you will see the colors of the rocks, and I'm like also does not help.
Oh yeah, because I forget who tells you that the colors of the rocks are this, 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 and this, and then you
Yeah.
have. Oh no, Babby tells you that
Babby
the
tells you
orders.
in that cave, and you
Yeah,
go through like 3 floors of dungeon, and I'm like, what were the colors again? If
yeah. Well, anyways, let's go back. I'm gonna go back to Babby real quick. I don't
yeah,
like him. I find him very selfish,
he is,
and
Yeah.
and we help him
and
for like no real reason, really.
right. I really don't know why they agreed to helping him because one, he held a Sheba, which is you find out before he held her as hostage so that the Lelivarians or whatever, I don't know what they're really called, but I know
Yeah,
people from Lelivero would help him in building his lighthouse.
uh-huh.
I mean,
And
he gave her back.
I know that makes it
so,
fine.
so no harm, no foul, you know?
there's already been rumors that they're saying that he's 150 years old, and you find out that rumor is true. And the reason why is because he way back when he stumbled upon this ancient civilization called Lemuria, which is pretty much Atlantis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the Atlantis that the Japanese people like to use a lot. Lemuria. That's in all the
Right.
games. It's like instead of
Right.
Atlantis,
Oh, wait,
it's
really?
it's always
Yes.
Lemuria in Japanese games.
Oh,
Mhm.
wow, I never noticed that.
Yeah,
Yes. And so Lemuria itself is a civilization that knows synergy, has knowledge of the past with them, and so he stumbles upon it with the ship one time when he gets 100 years ago. He finds it, and then he ends up stealing. Not even asking for permission. He ends up. I think he's stealing the drought. Right? He takes it without permission,
I don't know. I don't know
and
if I read that part.
I don't know if he.
He
I don't
didn't
know.
steal it, he
Anyways,
found it.
Yeah, finders
he
keepers,
found
losers
it.
sweepers. I'm immortal.
Well, yeah. So the Lemurians are. Yeah, so the Lemurians are they don't age as fast
Yeah.
as the normal people would, and it's because of this drought. So it just slows the aging process. They don't become mortal. So, but what happens is you're tasked of finding this civilization because Babby's drought supply is running out,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and I honestly wanted to be like, no, you can go die
You
and
could,
be
yeah.
buried with your sins. Like I was
Your
like,
sins. You're harsh.
I just really never liked Babby, and I was just every time I see him, I'm like, you're a horrible ruler. Like,
It
but
kind of feels like to me it's like I feel like we're not supposed to like them because to me they kind of represent that excess of wealth and everything.
I
They're just
agree.
kind of jerks, and we came from the other continent with Vale and like all these kind-hearted people living simple lives, and
Yeah.
then here comes the big city, or the closest thing to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's complicated because like I feel like the protagonists themselves seem totally fine with Babby. They don't really question him a lot, but like his
right,
actions are constantly suspicious.
Mhm.
right,
But yeah, his whole draft of Eternal Life is it's not the same thing that Kraden was talking about at the very very start of the game. They say it's a different thing. It's not Eternal Life. It's just the slowing down of the process.
right. And then we find out Kraden's real purpose in the game.
Yes, it's this
Oh.
is all just for Babby and
Yeah, yeah,
alchemy.
and
Yeah,
and now my hatred towards Kraden even grows
I,
Yeah.
I feel
grows
vindicated.
all the more.
I feel vindicated. Yeah.
Like, why is the scholar so selfish? And you go, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
right.
all
That's
makes sense.
literally.
This
I was
game
like,
is
now it
so
makes
deep. It's got all these character motivations.
sense. Right.
He comes from a whole town of people willing to throw children to the wolves.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Uh,
And I like the scene too because I realize now that out of the four main characters, Garrett is really the only one with a really kind of like developed or more refined personality.
mm-hmm.
He's
Yeah.
very, he calls things out. He says what's on his mind, and sometimes he's like the voice of reason in a lot of cases. He's like, "Are you serious?"
Yeah. He's not the hothead. He's like the rational one, and that's
Right?
quite. It's quite
It's kind of
strange.
hilarious, like seeing Garrett. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I totally am Garrett right now." Like, oh,
But when you
so
actually finish the Babby's dungeon, it's he conscripts you into the tournament. Like he says,
yeah, he's pretty much says that you've proven your worth.
But even though we didn't really express any interest in
Yeah,
being in this tournament in the
this is
first
Right.
what
place.
I wanted. Too
uh,
bad. Prove it.
oh, you're gonna pit me to the death? Thank you.
I was like, no, I don't want to be part of this tournament. But I mean, it's a very nice tournament because I love how you can
Cheat. you,
cheat
you
pretty much.
cheat in this tournament. It's unfair.
But it's so cool.
I know it's really funny. It's like,
It's
oh, let me just use my synergy to help Isaac out right
yeah.
now.
Yeah. It's actually one of the best parts in the game, to be honest. When
It really is.
Oh, yeah.
when you're picking just what adepts you're going to put in which puzzle to help Isaac, reach his target faster. It's really quite fun.
Yes, and the thing is, it's also very strategic because in the first stage, it's very. I think there's four stages, and you have three different characters, so
Mm-hmm.
there's only one stage that you won't use anything. But then, as you get further into the rounds, there gets more and more stages, and you have to choose the best area that the character would work with, and you also have to rearrange their stuff a bit because you need one that needs to have halt, and then
Yeah,
needs one that has to have growth.
grow. Yeah,
So it's very like really have to pay attention to the actual layout of the. It's weird because you end up being forced to think about design in this mini game, or
yeah,
you know, which is not really something that most games ever do. It's you kind of see it, but you don't ever be forced to think about it like in this way. So and it really does showcase. I feel like this is the best place to it showcases synergy and field abilities the most
yeah.
because it's everything's all there, and you're like, okay, you need to do this here, you need to do this here. So it's very. I kind of wish they put it. I don't know, earlier so that you have a better idea of what to do. But I
Yeah,
can
get
see
used to
why.
the idea of swapping around your synergies and
Right.
getting acts. But this is quite near the end of the game at this point. This tournament.
But then you do get I think the reward itself was kind of meh. Like I'm like I don't want more encounter rates. Okay, like
Yeah. Oh,
you don't feel.
yay!
I was like, no, thank you. Like
A
I was like, are
hat.
you serious?
It's a hat so unfashionable. The monsters want to attack you even more.
Right? I was like, I went through the cave for you. I almost died at the freaking Coliseum,
Yeah, you don't.
and you give me a lure cap so I can die even more. Like,
Yeah, it's not even the invisibility cloak. It's you have to go ask him specifically for that. Like, and even then, he's like,
right?
"I'll let you
Right?
borrow it, but I'll not give you it. It's mine."
Right? I was like, do you want me to look for the Lemuria, or do you want
Yeah,
me dead?
seriously.
Like, which is it? Like,
Uh, it's so Babby like puts you on like another quest. We have so many quests going on at the same time. I feel like it's like you're going to save Jenna and Kraden. You're also getting back these elemental stars, and now you're also looking for Lemuria all at the same time, with really no motivation to do so, other than to help Babby, who is, as established, not a great guy. It's like, why are we doing this to ourselves, guys?
I don't know. I have
Oh, and
good
also
question.
Ivan's sort of like history as well. Like that's a quest that's going on as well.
I like to believe that Isaac's just too awkward and nice to say no to people when they ask him to do something.
Yeah, they're just like, I'll take your silence as a yes.
Yeah, he's just like, I guess.
So like, after this part, you can either go continue the story, or you can do what I did, which was go to Lumpa and do this optional dungeon where you use the cloak, and you. It's interesting, like how, and you have to use this invisibility cloak to stay in the shadows. It only works in the shadows, and if you get spotted, you'll be kicked all the way back out of the fortress, which is quite frustrating because sometimes you have to walk in front of people,
Oh yeah.
and you don't know if you're supposed to or not.
Oh yeah, that fortress was pretty. I was getting frustrated because I did, and it's weird because you don't really know where the detection area is.
Mm-hmm.
Like you would assume that it's in where you hit the light
Yeah.
area, but it's not because even when you're not cloaked and you're in the shadows, they still spot you, and I'm like, are you serious? Like one step and you're just like caught you, and I'm like, can we just battle? Like, why do we do this? Like, I can beat you.
Yeah, I will murder all of you. I do not care.
Right.
No, these are the rules.
I know. I was like, can we just have the option of like, hey, let's battle? I'm like, I'm down for that. But getting kicked out every single time was getting infuriating.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it was frustrating. And the thing is, they don't really tell you there's a difference between, you know, it shows you the brigands that kick you out are green, and then the regular ones have like a reddish and brown,
I
color
did.
to them.
Obviously, I did not notice that.
Right. I was
Because
like, they don't tell you.
me and Keegan are colorblind.
Right.
I would
And,
do it
and
for
they,
everybody.
right. And they don't even say anything about like, oh, they're gonna kick you out. They just do. I'm like, yeah. So it was that dungeon. I mean, I'm glad it's optional.
The whole story with this town is that Donpa, who is like a great thief that everyone respects, even though he's a thief, he's sort of like a noble thief, I guess. Has this, and apparently his dad Lumpa founded the town, and it's been like a den of thieves for whatever how many years. But Donpa's son Toadonpa,
Toadonpa.
Toadonpa, it's time to
I'm gonna name all my
Toadonpa.
children. It's just add the first two letters of my name and
Yes.
continue it down.
It's a family
This is
tradition
my boy,
starting now.
Keegan, and his son, Keegan.
Oh my god, it's like Digimon or something.
Right?
Just Donpa digivolve to Toadonpa. But they say that Donpa spoiled his son
Yeah,
and that's why he's a psychopath. I don't know. Is
he's a
that
brat.
is that what
He's a
happens
brat.
when you spoil your son?
He's a brat.
But this is the part where you can rescue Hammett,
Yeah, this is the
Ivan's
part.
master. Yeah, Ivan's adoptive father, even. Yeah, you defeat Toadonpa. It falls on top of Dodonpa as he's trying to sneak behind you to stab you, I assume.
I think he's trying to push you in. I don't know, something.
Try to do harm to you in any case.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we forgive him instantly. Oh, but you get the option to not forgive him, really. But like, I think after what he done, he gets off pretty easy.
Yeah, because then Donpa comes in
Yeah.
and lectures Dodonpa, and oh my gosh, I'm getting confused. The
Why did
father
they do
comes
this?
in to lecture the son. There you go.
Yes. To lecture his son Toadonpa, is that right?
Dodonpa to
Wait,
lecture. Oh my gosh, this is confusing. The father comes in to lecture the son, saying, "Finally, these people have come to stop you." And I'm like, "You could have stopped them yourself by being a father." Like,
who knows? Like, I don't understand. Like, he says, like, none of the bandits here like obey me. It's like, how bad a leader were
Right.
you? Every single one. How did that happen?
Like, how did you lose your loyalty? Like,
like that.
I don't get it. And the thing is, he was lauded as being a good thief or a noble thief, so I'm pretty sure he had a loyal fan base behind him because he was doing good for the people. And I'm like, so where are those people now? They can't be all dead because you're still alive.
Yeah.
So I was just very taken aback by that like story.
Mm-hmm.
But you do need to do this if the thing is, it's optional, but you do. I will say that you do need to do this dungeon if you want all of the gin.
Yes,
because you can get the only way to get one of the water gins is through the father.
Yeah,
I almost said Toadonpa.
yeah. You go up to his room after it. Like I didn't know that, so I left this dungeon like completely, and then went into another dungeon. It's not until like I got near the end of the game, it's like I'm still missing 2 gin, 1 earth one, which I had to go to Crossbone Isle to get, and the water one. I was like, where did I miss it? And then I read back and I walked through, and it was like, oh, but yeah. You finally you save Hammett. We go all the way back to Calais. He sneaks in through a secret entrance round like somewhere.
Yeah, the Calais tunnels.
Yeah, and you learn a bit more about Ivan's past if you do this side quest, right?
Yes.
But we can continue back to the main story. And the next town you visit, like you have to go across a little passage. I got confused. I went to the Gondolin Cave again because I thought that's where I had to go, but no. So I was like, where am I going? But it's like
you went back.
It's a little bridge called Gondolin Passage, and you meet Adem, and he's with you for the rest of the game, really, but he doesn't do anything.
Yeah, he's like one of those support members. That's like those. What's it called? The starts with the. He just hitches a ride with you, pretty much. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Oh, Caravan.
Caravans.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
But Suhala is the next town you visit, and it's not a very important town. Nothing really happens here, I would say. I got here, and everyone was like, "You must have been blown here by a tornado," and I was like, "No, I just walked here. What tornado?
Yeah.
I've not been to the desert yet. Why would I go to the Why would I go to the desert that's after the town before I visit the town? That's not how RPGs work."
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I love Suhala. I don't know. And this is just me making like conjectures and stuff. This is nothing spoily, but for me, I think that this might be the place where Ivan is from.
Oh,
just because this is because for me, his theme is actually the town's theme.
Oh,
really?
Oh
yes.
My God, you're so on top of it. I never would have noticed that.
I love that's my favorite song in the soundtrack. So I would instantly recognize it. And so when I first hit Suhala and Ivan's theme played, I was like, what if this is the place where Ivan is actually from? Because if Sheba is from Lalavero, and which is a very similar kind of town or area, what if this is where Ivan is, like where he came from? Because his team is playing, and so I just automatically thought about that because it makes sense because it's also near Calais, and so I kind of thought about that. I don't know if it's true or not.
I like that theory. I like that theory a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty much one of those, and it's also very wind-based because that's where all you get blown on with the tornadoes and stuff, and so that's why I was like,
oh my god, it's all coming together. It's all
right.
These
cardboard with pictures and string attaching everything.
Yes, these farting wind blizzards in the desert were all alluding to Ivan.
Ivan coming from Suhala.
Okay, you've upgraded Suhala in my opinion.
Oh, thank you.
from nothing town to possibly Ivan's hometown.
Right. Well, we'll see. Because you never know. That's why I was like, oh, maybe this is where he's from.
The Golden Sun writers are like taking notes, listening to this podcast.
I know,
yes,
right?
Excellent. We just didn't have enough memory to write a song for Suhala, but this is great.
Right.
I like it. But after Suhala, you go to Suhala Desert, right? And this is the tornado desert. So this one doesn't have the heat mechanic like the Lamacan desert did, which is good. I would yeah. It's the opposite. It's cold. It's windy.
Oh, worse desert.
Yeah. Sand in my eyes, sand everywhere. It gets everywhere. I hate it. But you have to like step in the tornadoes and then use Mia's douse spell to make them go away, so you can pass through these little...
Really? I actually get caught in the tornado and then I douse it. I'm like, let me spin first and then let me put water on you.
No, I think you do have to step. I stepped in them all anyway. I think I tried to like not do it, but like I don't think it worked.
Does it work with you dousing it when you're just standing in front of it? Because I never tried to do it.
I don't think so. I think I did try, but I don't think it worked. I think it wants you to fight the lizard.
Oh, okay. I thought you stepped in front of it and like not inside. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, okay. I was like, what? I thought I was getting caught in all these tornadoes.
Maybe it does, but I didn't. I literally got caught in every tornado on this map.
Okay. Yeah, those storm. This dungeon is kind of very similar to the Lunpa dungeon in that it takes you back. It's very frustrating, but this one gives you a lot more time, or reaction time.
Yeah, it does.
To actually not get swept away back to Suhala, which is nice. And I don't know, for me, it would have been a very huge like meh if the desert would have been the same, because I just hate desert. I'm not really fond of desert dungeons in RPGs actually, because it's very boring.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that they did change the mechanics of this dungeon, because I would have been complaining.
Desert dungeons are a staple of RPGs, and they're never really fun. I mean, I'm thinking about like Beacon Desert and Final Fantasy X. Not an exciting place to be.
It's not, yeah. I think I don't even know.
Yeah, I think Final Fantasy VII also had one that just went on forever and just repeats. So you can't actually escape that one, I don't think.
So you pretty much you have to navigate your way through this desert, through the sandstorms.
Mm-hmm.
Some lead to treasure chests. I mean, honestly, it's a very linear path still, because it's just one way. I mean, there are dead ends, but it's not like excruciating to go through.
No.
And so it's not, it's a very clear path, and the desert's also the place where you can actually access Crossbone Isle if you missed it the first time with the pink tornado. It was funny when I first played this. I thought you just used douse on the tornado, and I didn't know it was a mini boss fight. So I was like, oh, it's pink.
Oh, it's so cute.
I know. I was like, oh, let me pour water on it and see if it works. And next thing you know, the battle music comes in, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, I'm about to die.
Look at this pink little tornado. I'm just going to use my watering can. Oh, it's so cute. Lizard.
I was deceived by that. I was like, it must be friendly. Maybe I can talk to it. I was like, I don't know what to do. It wasn't menacing. It was opposite of menacing.
Yeah, it's misleading, but
I,
you can either fight the lizard or you can just stay in it and he'll blow you all the way to Crossbone Isle.
right, and so that's the only way to get back to the dungeon
Yeah,
if you missed it. And but the only thing is though, if you do go to Crossbone Isle, you have to take the tornado back to Suhala,
mm-hmm.
and it's then you have to go through the dungeon all over again with the tornadoes. So
Yep.
that was the only kind of annoying part about it. Like I would honestly suggest if you do Crossbone Isle, do it all in one go.
Yeah, and don't get to the end of the
Because
game like I did, and then have to go all the way back to Lunpa as well as Crossbone Isle, because I went through that desert so
Oh,
many times.
oh my gosh, that's so
fought fought
frustrating.
so many wind lizards.
Yeah, and like I said, it's not needed. And but it does give you the cleric ring, which is a very useful item in that it negates cursed items.
Right, yeah. So you can
oh,
actually
what?
wear this cursed equipment and not have the
Yeah, so if you
downside.
equip it and equip a cursed item, you're not affected by the curse. You still can't remove the item.
Uh
You
huh.
still have to go to the priest to remove the curse, but you can actually you and cursed weapons are some of the strongest in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have if even if you clear the dungeon, the Crossbone Isle dungeon, you battle Deadbeard, which is pretty much the toughest boss in the game.
Yeah.
Harder than the final boss, by the way.
Keegan, did you even visit the island, Keegan?
Yeah, did you go?
I did not.
You
I
didn't.
was running
Oh,
out of time, so I was like
Yeah. See,
getting through it.
I
yeah.
got as far as getting the gin, and then I was like, I'm done. I'm not like
Mm, yeah,
no more puzzles for me, thank you.
yeah. It's very. It sucks because I think like the farther you go in, the more tedious the puzzles get.
Mm,
And I'm like, I really don't want to do this, but I want to get the Muramasa, which is the weapon behind the final boss, which is
right.
a really good weapon even in the Lost Age.
Wow.
Hmm.
So that's why I was like, I mean, it's not as like OP, but it's still pretty good for a cursed weapon. And so I was like, I'm gonna get this because it's a good weapon, and I could use the experience because the boss gives like 8,000 experience points for defeating it.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah, it's very hefty, but it's really hard. Like honestly, like there's always a cheat strategy in Golden Sun where you use flash and ground repeatedly,
Right. Those are the
and you attack with
paralyzing
other
ones.
team members. Yeah, so what you do is you set up the barrier to reduce damage, and then the next turn you'd always use ground, and then it's like you always do the same pattern over and over, and you can defeat anything that way, like even the final boss. But
Yeah.
it's not as fun.
Yeah.
But
It's a
it
bit
was
cheap.
right. But it's the Deadbeard itself was a very difficult boss. I think I died once when I was battling it this time around because
Mm.
I didn't want to do that strategy that I ended
Oh,
up doing.
you know,
Like I had no time.
I don't think I saw the game over screen in this game. Actually, I don't think I died once.
yeah, me neither.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Did you
good.
not die?
Yeah,
It's not a very hard game, right? It's
no, like you can beat it in your level. I think you like in 25s. I think you can even beat the game. Level 25 to 30 is usually the
I
point
was
where
like,
people beat
yeah,
the
I
game.
was like 29, 30. Yeah.
What sucks is that you get abilities all the way up to level 50
Really?
in this
Yeah, I
game.
read that afterwards.
Oh my god.
Like the
And
abilities go on for a longer time than I expect them to.
Huh.
yeah, the thing is, I realized I've never seen these spells because I never got to that point.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what they look like.
They're yeah. I got up to like the Mother Earth Gaia spell for Isaac, and I think that's like up to the highest. It's about level 30 spells that I got to. It's crazy that they go up that high. I wonder if they were just programmed in that way because they knew they were going to do the Lost Age and knew that this was gonna, possibly carry over.
I think so. I was hoping so. Or maybe some people really do
Love to grind,
grind
yeah.
that level because the thing is with Golden Sun, there's not really you don't have difficulty settings either. You're just stuck with one
Uh
difficulty.
huh.
Mm.
So there's not really an incentive for you to, unless you really want to be that OP. Other than that, I don't really know why you would grind up to level 50. But if you have, let us know because I would love to know if anybody
Not me.
got to
Not
that
me.
point.
I think that would take me longer than I wanted to. But speaking of the end, I mean, the last little sequence that we go through is really the very end of the game, and that's first you go after the desert. You go to the Venus Lighthouse, but it's a fake Venus Lighthouse, right?
Yeah, it's like the
It,
exit.
Yeah.
it's yeah. Well, it's weird that Venus Lighthouse is just it's not the entrance; it's somewhere else. Let's put it
Uh-huh.
that way.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah. And you actually have to go to the Babby Lighthouse to really complete the end of the game, because that leads
Yeah.
to the true Venus Lighthouse, I guess.
I actually thought we were going to hit all the lighthouses in this game. I was kind of surprised when I saw that this was the
Oh,
last one. But the more I think about it, I'm like, yeah, they totally planned Lost Age. Like,
Yeah, they
it was
must
they
have.
going
had
to
to.
happen no matter what.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
only.
I
Oh,
think. Yeah. I think what happened is that they just ran out of memory space because
I can believe that too.
that's what right because then since this is a Game Boy Advance game, they don't have that much memory capabilities. So I knew they probably had to split the game in half.
Yeah, not
yeah,
to mention
And
2001. That's pretty early in the lifespan of the GBA,
it
right?
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And not like I said, there's so many things going on in Golden Sun. Like I said, the mind read and all so many texts.
So much memory and space that people just might not see.
Right, right. That's the sad part. Is like you kind of like if you're not really into that, you'll never really get to know. Like it's just unused and stuff. But
Yeah, mind reading's like one thing, but did you guys like ever just randomly cast halt on random people? Because like they usually say something like a one word like why,
no,
why.
no.
Yeah, they have like their own little individual text for if you've halted
Oh
them.
my gosh, I didn't know
Yeah,
that. I
yeah,
never did that.
yeah,
Yeah, no. But I do like about these lighthouses is that they are very they stick to their themes a lot. Like you had Mercury with the water and you had to walk on the water and go up the waterfall with Venus.
mm-hmm.
The entrance is under like through the earth itself
Yeah,
and so that's why I really like how they characterize each of the locations, I guess.
yeah,
Like it doesn't feel like you're visiting it doesn't feel like it's the same thing over and over again with the lighthouses. And I mean, at this point, you can surmise that Jupiter and Mars have different mechanics as well.
mm-hmm.
And so that's what I really found interesting. Like Venus Lighthouse, I will say is my least favorite of the lighthouses.
Okay,
I just hate the dungeon area. I don't like the dungeon design of Venus Lighthouse in general. It's just very bland. There's all you have to do is move stuff around, really.
yeah. Did you
But
struggle with the statue one, Keegan, that I did? It was like all these colored statues and you had to arrange them in the right order, and it's like violet needs to be southwest of me and
oh right,
green needs
No.
to be to the east.
Exactly. To be honest with you, I don't even know what violet is.
No,
I've
I
never
don't.
seen that color
I've
in
never
my
seen
life.
that color, so
I
how would I
think
know?
it's darker than blue, but that's it. At least give me like
What?
if it's like yellow, red, and blue, I can work with that. But when it's like, all right, there's the periwinkle statue, here's the green statue, and this is the rust-colored statue. I'm like, all right,
It's code
I'm
mauve.
done.
Oh,
But yeah, so the Babby lighthouse, like, it's quite ugly, I think, compared to the actual
oh yeah,
lighthouses. It's very much like supposed to be a demonstration of how ugly like our man-made structures are towards these like ethereal.
Just like Babby.
Yeah, just like
I know. I was
Babby.
gonna say that too. It was gonna
Oh my
reflect the
god,
creator.
you guys are way harsh. Way harsh, Ty.
He deserves it. He was mean. I mean, come on, slavery, pretty much. Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
And Lalivero, where Babby Lighthouse is like the hometown of a character that we pretty much just meet in this area, and that's it. And that's Sheba. We hear about her from Iodem a bit earlier, but like she's from this town. She's been kidnapped by Satiros and Minardi, which is the first time I think we've mentioned them this episode because you don't really see them until this
No,
point.
you're just chasing them the whole
Yeah.
time. Yeah, because you're chasing them. Mhm.
Yeah, it's like it's very interesting how the game only has like three main, I would say, like three or four like main plot points, and everything else is just dungeon and puzzles and moving to place and seeing the town and the sights and building the world rather than the actual the main story of the game. So yeah, you don't see Satoris and Minardi until you get to the very top of the Venus Lighthouse again, and they've kidnapped Sheba, who is a Jupiter adept. Yeah. So they need her because they've figured out that each of these lighthouses needed someone from that specific clan to open them. They needed Alex probably opened the Mercury lighthouse for them, and
Yeah.
are we saying Felix is the Earth adept in this one? Is the Venus?
Felix is
I don't know if they revealed it in this one.
I can only assume because they said that you've got one Mercury and two Mars. So Felix must be the Venus adept.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Felix, when you get to the top of the tower, Felix seems to be in a fight with Saturos and Minardi. The alliance is breaking down a bit because Felix wants to rescue Sheba. They've developed some sort of kinship over their journey.
Well, I think it's just because because Sheba has nothing to do with the journey itself, because she wasn't really supposed to be part of it. They only took her because, they just took her because they found her stranded, but they took her in because like you said, they found out that the Jupiter Lighthouse needs a Jupiter adept, and Sheba is that adept. So it's like she's being forced into the journey without having a say in it, which is why Felix was so adamant about, no, you need to let her go because this isn't her choice.
Yeah, it's really hard to say about what happened on this side of the path because, we don't see it, right? We have no idea what Felix has been like during this entire game, really, because we only see him a couple of times.
Yeah.
And so it's also you try and do a trade with Saturos and Minardi for Sheba, and that's to the Shaman Rod, which they call the Rod of Vesperia, which must be where the Jupiter lighthouse is, I'm guessing. And they need that to open the lighthouse as well, I think. I'm not sure about that one.
You'll find out.
I'll find out. Okay. Now you're not spoiling the Lost Age. Last episode it was all about spoiling the Lost Age.
I know. I was like, I need to learn my. I need to not. But I would try. I'm biting my tongue right now, you guys. I'm like.
Okay, I'll talk to Keegan then.
Yeah, that's right. I'm like, I can't say anything. No comments.
Keegan, since Triss is bursting at the seams, wanting to spoil everything, what did you think about these scenes at the top of the lighthouse?
Saturos pulled some classic BS kid on the school ground thing. Because what is it that he says exactly? I'm trying to remember. He says if they give him the rod, then Sheba won't come to harm.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly
I think that's exactly. And then they give him the rod. And he said, "Well, I didn't say I was going to let her go. Just I'm not going to hurt her." It's like, dude.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah, it's a total childish move that he pulls. Well, I never officially said those words, so
yeah.
Does it matter? There's not an official contract being written here, Saturos. You know what we mean.
Yeah. Well, officially, we're about to beat the crap out of you, Saturos. So let's do this.
Here we go. And this is the point where you fight Saturos and Minardi, right? These two are, I suppose, the second to last boss. Separately,
They're the I mean, they're the final boss in different forms.
Yes.
Yeah, they have the two phases.
Yeah.
How did you guys find this fight? I thought it was one of the tougher fights. It was.
Oh, the fusion dragon.
Yeah, it was. I almost died to him because he used the move called Outer Space.
Oh yeah, Outer Space. I didn't find it too difficult. I just.
I think it's because I didn't fight the Deadbeard guy, so this was the toughest fight that I had been in.
Yeah. Honestly, people are saying once you beat Deadbeard, honestly, you're set for the final boss because
I never did that.
Yeah, and so no, I mean it wasn't that bad. Outer Space was what I did was I ended up setting I kind of made sure everyone had some water of life to revive everybody just in case.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know, it wasn't that bad of a fight because I did get everyone's ultimate weapons though because I did farm for the items that were the weapons from the drops from the monsters that were the best. I did get the blessed mace for Mia and the Kikimanoji for Ivan So it was I don't know, for me I was kind of at this point.
You were set, yeah. I wasn't
Yeah,
doing
I was
I wasn't doing myself many favors. I was all monoclass. I had just like shop bought equipment. I grinded 0%. And I was just like,
right.
yeah. But I was,
It's funny you're talking about the monoclass.
huh.
Oh, I was gonna say 'cause I went back to playing monoclass.
Oh,
'Cause I
did
was
you?
like, I can't. I couldn't keep track of like which gen is gonna cause me to lose which spells.
Yeah.
So just like I need to simplify this for my own brain.
Right, it's just simpler to be monoclass. It's for dumb people, I think. It's it's like
Yeah, no, I beat the game with monoclass too because I was like, I don't want to keep track of everything.
yeah,
I can't do this, and yeah. So
yeah. And
yeah,
then it's just a typical boss fight, and then I guess
Mhm.
Minardi and
yeah.
Citrus defusion and they fall down the lighthouse itself. Going back a bit, actually, that I just thought about it is something that I found interesting. Is I don't know. I think was it Minardi who said that lighting the Jupiter lighthouse is the same as lighting the Mars lighthouse, and I didn't understand that. I'm assuming it's something to do with the Lost
They,
Age.
oh no, they did say it. They said it's because there's kind of like a close relationship with Venus and Mars, and so
Right.
that's why they don't. It's not like the same as lighting. I don't think it's the same as lighting the Mars because if it was the Mars lighthouse, you'd be dead. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Except for Garrett. But the thing is, they don't realize that one. I'm like, honestly, when they said that, I was like, you guys gotta chill. I am a Venus adept. So the one who's
I
getting all the power here is me. Like,
yeah. No, they had like
I don't
two.
know what you're thinking.
They had like two separate things. Like I think Minardi said the Jupiter lighthouse is the same as lighting the Mars lighthouse, but also later I think they say that the Venus lighthouse powers up Mars Adepts because there's a symbiotic relationship. There's like two different instances of
Oh, I didn't catch that Jupiter one. I don't
yeah.
remember.
I so I didn't
Yeah.
yeah. Did you know? Did you catch that, Keegan, or am I making that up? I don't remember.
I remember the Venus and Mars
Uh
symbiotic
huh.
relationship part, but
Okay,
the Jupiter
maybe I
one I'm
imagined it.
not recalling that much.
Yeah, I don't remember reading that one because I would have caught me off guard because I'm like, no, it's not.
Well, if I look back in the scene and it happened, I'll let you guys know. And if it didn't happen, we'll pretend
Okay.
this never happened. Okay?
Okay, cool.
I
We'll
never
have it in
said
both.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's weird because you'll. I don't know if you guys are starting to get the idea of what happens when the lighthouses get lit. I mean, it kind of touched upon it with Mercury, and then the water fountain, the fountain of whatever, the Hermes
Hmm.
water came, and then the Earth one, the ground shook and it split itself.
Yeah. Okay. Can we talk about the splitting of the tower? That was the cleanest split sort of forming that I've ever seen. It's like
I know,
it's
right?
so bad that Sheba like falls off the tower and then Felix has to
Felix
dive in the
jump.
sea after her. The whole tower looks like it's going to fall. Apparently, the foundations are disappearing. So that's like a big like crack, and then just for a split second, it just goes doop, and all of a sudden the lighthouse is perfectly fine again. How does that work?
Well, it's the Venus
Synergy stones.
lighthouse,
Yeah, it just rejoins like a Lego.
right?
it's,
Well, it is the
it's
Earth
made of
lighthouse,
Lego. Oh
so.
my god, the Venus lighthouse is made of Lego. And after that, it's kind of odd. They talk about stuff that they saw at the lighthouse when they're back in
At Lilivero.
yeah, Lilivero, but like they didn't show it. I was like, why did you not just show this happening? But instead they're just talking about it, and they're talking to add.
You ran out of budget.
Yeah, it must have been something like that, right? It's like, oh, we saw a misty island out in the sea.
Oh yeah, I know. I was like, why? What?
Yeah, it's like when I didn't see that. It's like, oh, but off screen. It's like, what's okay? And,
Right.
We put in too many halt and mind read lines, so
yeah,
we're kind of in corners here.
exactly.
Right.
It's like, why did we focus so much on Halt? It's like no one does it anyway.
But yeah,
And that's
they just tell you.
yeah, sort of
Yeah.
setting up the second game, right? It's like
Oh yeah, definitely.
they're going to head towards Lemuria, but also sort of continue their quest and go into the lighthouses and also trying to get because Felix has the elemental stars now, right? Or star.
Yeah, he has. Well,
singular.
he has one of them. He has
Yeah,
the Jupiter.
because Mercury and Venus have been used now.
Yeah, yeah, because he has a Jupiter, and I think they were trying. See, this is what I didn't get. You know, when Saturus was like, bartering for Sheba. He could have been like, "Could you give me the Shaman's Rod and the Mars Star?"
Right.
Like,
He's not a very good
I'm like,
negotiator, is he?
were you not? You're right. I was like, were you not thinking, Satoros, when you negotiated that? Because I thought about it, and I'm like, wait,
Yeah. Maybe
why are you not asking for that?
maybe he just knew we'd never go for that one. Maybe it's a step too
Yeah,
far. We've never agreed to that.
maybe. It's kind of interesting because you get to go to you're back in Lolivero. You're kind of limited where you go in the area, and then Item talks with you.
Hmm.
You get your ship.
Yeah, it's a very like you get the black orb, which
Right.
raises this ship that Babby has that apparently Satoru and Minardi also have a copy of. I was confused about that.
I think it's just this way. I think they only use one ship model.
Right, okay, it's
For
the
the
exact
game.
same ship anyway.
It's also, I know, like those in-world ships, I should say, they have different ships, but I mean,
Yeah, it's the
we'll
same
say
sprite, yeah. Yeah.
overworld ships, yeah, yeah. It's and the thing is, I don't even know if you noticed this, but the Venus lighthouse did affect the world, and that the continents are shifting now
Oh, I
since
did not
it was the
notice.
yeah,
Oh,
because you know how at the end with Jenna
yeah,
and Kraden floating, right?
right.
So
I
what
thought that
happened?
was just like weird. I was like, these writers don't know how islands work. They don't float.
No. They remember they said that they were on the continent of Itojima or something,
Uh,
Itojima, or the area of Itojima. But what happens now is since the Venus lighthouse was lit, and that's the Earth lighthouse.
uh-huh.
Everything is shifting in
Right.
the world, and that's
Very
where
interesting.
it ends.
Yes,
And that's where it
it
ends.
ends on Kraden and Jenna washed up on this floating island, and
Mhm.
then Alex comes over. I mean, Jenna and Kraden don't seem to be getting along very well in that little moment. And then Alex kind of comes and breaks it up and leads them towards,
Felix and Sheba.
Oh
yeah,
wow, a
Felix and
full set
Sheba.
of adepts. Huh.
Yeah, and they've
It's
got a
interesting.
full roster, just maybe
Yeah.
lined up for maybe future games, or just hypothetically, maybe a party has formed or something.
Maybe,
I
maybe.
feel
Maybe,
like you
right?
have some kind of credit.
I can't say anything. I can't ruin this for you.
Uh,
I mean, this one's
But
pretty obvious.
yeah, I'd say so. I mean, imagine it's not.
no,
Imagine
actually, I
it's
will
like
say this.
Babby and Donpa and Toadonpa. That's the.
I will
Abby,
say,
Toadonpa, Boy, and Dora. That's your
Oh,
party.
that's it. Oh my
right.
god, Dora. Could you?
Done four.
Yes. She's probably the most powerful one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this. It's not as what you expect it to be in the Lost Age. I'm gonna give you guys that. It's not
Okay.
fully what it's gonna be. I'll put it that way.
Okay. Well, that's good. And
Uh,
I like to be little surprises.
since I played the Lost Age already, I want to know what you both expect, or what do you want from the sequel?
Okay.
Since I already played, so I'll
Keegan,
ask
do
you
you want to
guys
go
that.
first or will I go first?
Well, okay. So for me, I definitely like to see more of the quote unquote other party, if you will,
Uh-huh.
because let's be honest, I love our adepts in this game, but I feel like there's so much more story given to the other characters,
Right, yeah.
you know? Because like once Ivan and Mia join your party, it's kind of like, well, I'm sorry, Ivan does definitely have a lot more to him, but
Mhm.
Mia, Garrett, and Isaac kind of they're a little
Yeah,
bland, if you will.
they're done. You're like when you get them, that's their like story's done, and the other party seems to be doing so much more interesting stuff. It has this
Yeah.
interesting like dynamic between them, where it's like enemies but friends but allies. It's really interesting. You like, I want to see what's happening with them. So I'd love,
And like
yeah, I'd love
I
that.
definitely want to hear more from Jenna. Like her
Right?
brother has just appeared, like who she
Uh-huh.
thought was dead for years. Like we get a little bit of it, but there's got to be more conversations between the two of them.
Yeah, you'd hope so.
Also, I hope Creighton disappears in like the first 5 minutes. I don't know how true that is. I just want him gone.
He's the final boss, remember?
Oh God.
What?
But
Yeah.
aside from that, I like the gameplay itself. I kind of hope there's a bit more with the class system.
Mm.
Just a bit more depth from it. But other than that, as long as it keeps going the way it's going, I think I'll be content.
Good.
Okay.
All right, so Leona, what do you think? What do you
Hmm,
want?
what do I want? I mean, I do like the game like a lot. The gameplay is pretty solid. I would like more variety in the battle. I feel like because towards the end, I feel like I was just going through the motions a lot. I felt like there wasn't much
Mhm.
to the battle system at that point. I don't know how likely it is to change it since I'm thinking that the Lost Age is more of just a part two rather than like a sequel. But more story stuff I'm interested in. I'm interested to see what all this lighthouse stuff means. What's the eyeball rock guy? What's he all about? What's happening in Lemuria? What's all? How is it all being tied together? You know, what's
Mhm.
what's happening with Ivan?
I agree on your points and what you guys want.
Uh huh.
When I first played it, I felt the same. I think, but the thing is, I didn't have to wait because I literally just played through both in like I played through both games in like 2 weeks.
Wow,
Jeez,
So,
man.
that's a lot
well,
of puzzles.
I was still in school. Like, I was still younger, so
Yeah.
I didn't have to be an adult.
Yeah.
Being an adult is the
So,
worst. I'm definitely excited to see what we're going to do going forward. And I do hope we play it on the podcast because it's always fun talking about games with other people. And you guys have been so great to talk about. I feel like we've had a great laugh talking about this game together.
oh
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's been really
I
fun.
never had bashed Kraden or Babby this hard with somebody before, so
Finally, people who understand.
I know. I'm like, finally, people who get my frustration with these characters. But
Thanks so much for spending your time with me, guys, talking about this game. It's been great fun. We finally reached the end. I feel like we talked so long about these games, and like it just goes to show how well crafted they are. And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, I love Golden Sun, and I'm really glad that I got to experience
mm,
your first time with the game.
yeah,
It's one of those games that I love showing people that are interested in RPGs or JRPGs, just because it's not perfect, but it kind of really introduces a lot of JRPG aspects to those that one aren't familiar with it. It's like
hmm
here's turn-based, here's class systems, here's the story.
yeah. And
It's
he,
very JRPG centric in that it's true to its form, but
mhm.
it's also very interesting at the same time because it teases you in so many ways.
Yeah, it's definitely a good introductory JRPG, I'd say, and it's
Without a doubt.
yeah, it's also it's good for kids. There's nothing bad in here. That I think you can give this to very young kids, and
Oh yeah,
they could play it. I mean, some puzzles might trip them up, but it's fun for kids. They like doing that sort of stuff. But
yeah. A quick question: would you guys, let's say that Camelot ever decides to do this, but they need to make a fourth one first before they do this.
right.
Would you guys ever want Golden Sun to be remade into like a 3D type thing, like how 3D world,
Hmm.
bigger, like maybe kind of like like I don't want to say Xenoblade, but like that kind of style. Would you
Oh,
prefer that, or would you want to just keep it 2D?
maybe. I think I like it 2D. I think it works in 2D for me personally. I think I would like to see it definitely remade for like another handheld system. I wouldn't
Mhm.
say I would like to
Mhm.
necessarily see it on a PS4, 5, whatever generation it would be on. That sort of powerhouse. I think it suits its little handheldness. It's a very easy game to pick up and play. So
Mhm.
I would say I'd prefer 2D. What about you, Keegan?
I think I have to go the same way. I think it could work in 3D,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it would need to really, because it's been a while since we've had a new Golden Sun, so I really think it would need to get back to its roots and build up a
Mm,
reputation again and get some new fans into it, and then make a big push into 3D.
that'd be
At
interesting.
least that's how I feel. I think it could totally work. I think there's a lot of fun synergy that could happen in a three-dimensional environment
Yeah, I'd
that
like.
we just can't
Yeah.
see in a 2D one. Oh, what am I? Oh, I'm thinking a lot of the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild with like the
Oh
Mm,
yeah.
things like that. Like that's a big vision in my mind, just picking up things and throwing them
Right.
around.
wouldn't that be interesting? Yeah, because like Zelda kind of uses like if you think of it, the tablets as sort of like psi energy, it's kind of like similar.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that
So
is true.
yeah, it's kind of if you just like change the wording around, it's very similar. Anyway, we really should wrap this up. Thank you guys for joining me, and thank you listeners for listening to Drone On. Um, it's been excellent. Next week we have a special Pokemon themed episode, which sounds absolutely delightful. And after that is a food related episode talking about all the various foods and cuisines and RPGs, which just sounds like it's going to make me hungry.
I'm already hungry. Also, I haven't had lunch yet.
You know, and then the game series we're going to be playing in December is 999, 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. I might have mixed up the order of what that title is, but you get the point. And after that, in January, I believe it's a Kingdom Hearts episode,
Yes.
which I know is much requested. People have been asking for that one for a long time. And if you want to give us feedback or recommend any games to us or what we should play or episode ideas, we're all ears. If you email us at retro@rpgfan.com, we read our emails religiously. Well, Solosi does. I don't get to see them. I'm not allowed access to that. But we also have RPG fan forums. We have social media. We have Twitter, Facebook. We have a Discord server, which yours truly runs, with help from some other people. And we have an Instagram, and we have a sister podcast, Random Encounter. And we also have, it's not running right now, but we also have Rhythm Encounter, which is our music-based podcast, which is one of people request that to come back all the time because it's super good. It's really informative. It's great to listen to, and it's really well done. So check that out. Review us on iTunes, Google Play, whichever other podcasts you providers you have. Reviews. We'd love to see your feedback. And let's go for our own like personal social medias. Keegan, do you have any social media you want to plug?
Oh yeah, the most active I'm on is on Twitter. You can find me there at Kaylee Brand. I tweet a lot about video games and my feelings. I cry a lot on there. Right now I'm on a bit of a Mega Man kick, so if you want to see my thoughts about the games, stop on by there.
Oh, great. And what about you, Tris? Any social media you want to plug?
You can always reach me at Discord on @therefore so reach me there.
And I'm on Discord at StarMongoose. I'm the one with the little crown and the cute pink title.
Pink. It's deceiving, you guys. It's pink.
I mean, people tell me it's pink. I hope it's pink. And you can also get me.
Lizard.
Yeah. You can also get me on Twitter at StarMongoose. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.